No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey gardeners, bit of a smoky morning for us here. I hope you're all having a clear day out in your gardens. Look at this. I just filmed my summer garden tour if you want to check it out. But in that tour I harvested a bunch of these Persian cucumbers, and it already looks like here just a day or so later we've got a bunch more that I'm gonna have to take off the plant here real soon, with lots of new ones already forming all over this plant as well too. It's trailing down here. There's some more down there as well, but yeah, I'm loving this cucumber for sure. But we've got some great guests here today with us. We've got Chad from Down Home Backyard Gardening and Brian Lowell joining us as well too. So all right, hey George, let's get growing. All right, my passionate plant people and garden enthusiasts. Welcome to the Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today, and we've got a really, really great show ahead for you today. You definitely want to go to stay tuned and stick around today. We've got, yep, that's right, Brian Lowell from Next Level Gardening in the Gardens at Sky Ridge joining with us here today, as well as our good friend Chad from Down Home Backyard Gardening. He's going to join us for our Are You Following Me coming up here, and he's also going to stick around as a guest co-host for our interview with Brian a little bit later here as well too. So definitely stick around for these great, awesome conversations here on the show, and let's definitely click that like button, hit the thumbs up, as well as subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Bell notification right up there to be notified of all of our videos and live streams and all that coming up here on the Urban Gardener channel, as well as share with all of your friends out there and let them know about all these great, awesome guests and gardening conversations we get into each and every weekend here on the Urban Gardener channel every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, definitely a big, huge shout out to all of you who are watching us on the replay. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And definitely drop into the comments down below and let us know you're here. Let us know what you got growing on, where you're growing from, how's the garden going. I want to hear all about it, or just drop in and say hello. I love to hear from you all, so thank you so much for doing that. And if you're here with us live, definitely drop into the conversation there in the chat. And we've got our roll call coming up here in just a couple of minutes as well too. So definitely get into the chat there. Let us know, like all of our team replay watchers, let's get into the chat there. Let us know where you're growing from, what you've got growing on, how's the garden growing, all of that sort of stuff. And we'll give you a big, huge shout out here in just a few minutes during our roll call. And when we get our guests on here in a little bit later as well too, drop in your questions, comments, and all of that into the chat. And we just might feature those on the show right at the bottom there throughout the show. And your questions, get those in too, so we can ask those of our guests when they're here just a little bit later on in the show. Definitely follow all the links down below as well too to our guests, and definitely go and check out what they've got growing on over on their channels. Go check out a video or a post or something like that, and just like here, drop into their comments as well too, and let them know that you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. I really appreciate that when you guys do that. Help support our show by supporting our guests and what they're doing as well too. So thank you everybody for doing that. Comments and all of that, and the like buttons and everything are just really big for all of these great channels out there. So love to see when you guys do that. So thank you so much. And let's see here. Also, I did finally, I've been teasing this the last couple of weeks. Finally got out and did some filming this week. It was the first time, I think, in quite a while now, too, that I've actually got out and finally did some filming and edited up a really cool little summer garden tour and took you around all the different garden spaces around here to show you all the different things that we've got growing on. I've been talking about all the awesome tomato plants. I mean, I think their weather's just been amazing this year. I mean, just a little bit cooler than what we've normally been getting with some of the extreme heat over the last several years here. And being just a little bit cooler, those tomato plants are loving it. They're taking off. All of my big main tomato crops are just coming in big time. I mean, tomatoes all over my plants. They're just really great. So if you want to check those out, definitely check out our summer garden tour video that I put out here just yesterday afternoon. So definitely go check that out. We got all sorts of great things growing in all of our different garden spaces, and just some really cool stuff. So go and check out that video there and see what we've got growing on. Also, too, and I didn't really mean for this to be a thing, anyways. What I showed you all last week, I just thought it was just really, really interesting. I had a tomato that got. Yeah, I have a whole shelf with all this different fresh produce and things that I got up there, and I got these tomatoes, and one of them was kind of in the back there, and it's there for a little while, mind you, but it ended up popping out a little sprout right out of the tomato. Vipperary is what that's called, and that's when the seeds within a fruit start to sprout. And I've seen them on a couple of other things that I've had here, but I've seen pictures of tomatoes. I've just never had one myself before where I've seen that. And as you can see there was other ones trying to pop out, but I went and snapped another picture. Here we are 1 week later, and look at that thing. More of them have popped out. We've got some true leaves that are coming up as well, too, out of this thing. So again, like I said, I didn't really think that was it, but we're on a week-to-week look to see what's happening with our Vipperary tomato. But it's got more sprouts, and as you can see there's more wanting to pop out too, like alien, right? Just kind of popping right out of there. And but I was kind of surprised also to see that the other ones here, in fact, it's right here, the other ones got some true leaves coming out of them as well too. But I don't know, just an interesting, fun thing that we find with some of our garden experiments in a well too, and really an experiment I wasn't expecting at all, but kind of fun to check that out and see what these plants, and in this case the fruits of our plants, are capable of when it comes down to it. Some always really, really kind of fun, interesting things going on out of our gardens for sure. All right, everybody. Hope you've all jumped into our chat, as I mentioned just a little bit ago there, because now it's time for roll call.
My name is Kevin. Yeah. That is my name. Yeah. They call me Kevin. Yeah. Because that's my name. Roll call.
All right. This is roll call time on the show here, and this is where all of you who are hanging out with us in the chat, viewers, get a little bit of a shout out. So if you haven't jumped into the chat yet, definitely jump into the chat and let us know you're here, where you're growing from, what you've got growing on, all of that sort of stuff. And we'll give you a big shout out here. And first and foremost, though, we definitely want to say hello to our friend and chat facilitator, Jay Dixon, joining us from Huron County, Midwestern Ontario. Thank you, Jay. Everybody keep an eye out in the chat there. Jay facilitates our chat with lots of great information about the topics we're talking about. She drops in some links now and then to, different things. So check those things out as well, too. Thank you, Jay. Really appreciate it. Chad's already in early into the chat there as well, too. We'll see him here in just a couple of minutes. And yeah, looking forward to chatting with you as well too, Chad. Great to have you here. And we've got Benny. Says, Brian has made a huge difference for my tomatoes with all the tips he has provided with his YouTube videos, watching from Michigan. Awesome. Thank you, Benny. Thank you for joining with us today. Great to have you here. Adventures with me and T. Great to see you as well. Awesome to have you here with us. We got Joe from Muddy Puddles Farm over there in Cornwall, UK. Happy harvesting chili, chard, kale, carrots, beets, turnip, herbs, and soon onions and tomatoes. Lots and lots of good stuff coming up out of the garden over there. Thanks for joining us today, Joe. We've got, what's this, Harmony Gardens. Excited for this. I know I've been excited. I've been really, really excited for the last few days. Couldn't wait for today's show, that's for sure. Rob's Attic, Rob's Allotment Gardening, joining us from Lancaster, UK. And he says it's sunny. Awesome, awesome. Sunny day over there. That's great. Benny says it's great to see Brian on here. Yes, indeed, Brian. It's awesome to have him here with us today. So definitely be sticking around for that conversation coming up here just a little bit on the show. Let's see, Rebecca's Garden. Hello, hello. Great to see you. Great to have you here with us today. We got Look to Nature Homestead. Hey, gang. How are we doing today? It's stormy day there in southeastern Pennsylvania. The plants are loving it. Awesome, awesome. We've got Diana's Garden Menagerie. Brian, Chad, yay. Awesome. Nancy joining with us here as well, too. Joining from northern New Jersey. And LGG Glove. Hello. Great to see you. Thanks for jumping in with us today. Great to have you here. We got our other moderator, my good friend Adam Burley. He's joining us from Central Point, Oregon, which is just right up the road from here in Southern Oregon, under all of the fire smoke here too, as I was mentioning last week. We had a big fire that got started just about 20 minutes or 20 miles north of me here, just right on the edge of our valley. And as you saw in the clip earlier, it's just a little bit smoky around here, that's for sure. We were kind of, I say fortunate in a sense, it's unfortunate to have the fire, but fortunate enough that the wind was blowing in the other direction for most of the week. But boy, yesterday it turned on us and it's just really filled up the valley. And I hope they get that fire taken care of real soon for sure. Let's see. Muddy Puddles Farm says, thank you. It's a good year so far. I'm trying to get a head start on preservation before August. For all hell breaks loose then. Oh my, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, and I see Brian in the chat saying hello to everybody there. Awesome, awesome. We'll see him in just a few minutes here. We got Jill with us from Northwestern Ohio. Awesome to have you here. And Diana's Garden is so exciting. Absolutely. Dusty Flats. Howdy, howdy. Smoke has cleared. Yeah, and that's another thing, too. I've been hearing a lot about folks getting a lot of smoke in some of the eastern states coming down from Canada. Canada's got a bunch of fires going on, so that's smoking out a bunch of other people as well, too. It is definitely fire season right now. Well, right. Bowtie Life. Awesome. David from Bowtie Life in the garden. Triple G. Greetings, Global Gardeners from Old Destin, where the bathroom is installed. The cabinets are in place, and the remodel is changing the house almost daily. Awesome. It's good to see that moving along, so you can get that done soon. All right. Let's see. Puddle Mum. Hey, Brian. Croc Gardner in the chat as well. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. We've got Shawnee Grows listening in from Smoky, Minnesota. Worked 2 hours in the garden this morning, laying down organic wheat straw mulch. Shopped a BOGO sale on shrubs yesterday. And the kids' garden tour video is posted. Awesome. Go check out Shawnee Grows and her new garden tour. And Harmony Gardens says, I'm Craig from Spring, Texas, not far from Chad, also Zone 9B. Awesome. Thank you for being here, Craig. Awesome to have you here with us. We've got Nicole, Southern California. Serena joining with us as well, too. Awesome. And Chad, Zone 9B, Spring, Texas. And Rockland, California. That's where Diane's joining us from. Excellent. We got Janet Potter joining us. Good afternoon. Great to see you as well. And Jill says, a tomato with symbiotic twins. Yeah, our tomato. That's really so funny with those tomatoes. Interesting. I've never seen one myself. I've seen lots of pictures, but I've never had one. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. I'm sure it's going to rot away and those things are going to be gone before we know it. But it's interesting to see how they grow like that. Sam in the conversation. Great to have you here, Sam. Good afternoon, Garden Gurus. Smoke clearing out today and finally getting some sun in 6B, Northwest Ohio. Yeah, good to see the smoke clearing out for you. Crop gardener Doug from Illinois, growing everything I can. Awesome. Excellent. Let's see here. Dr. CBG Farm, Vermont. Awesome. Thank you for joining us from Vermont. Benny's joining us from Michigan. We got EE2201. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you. Let's see here. Nancy. Hello, Coast to Coast crew. That's right. Coast to Coast crew with us here today. Right on. Excellent. Dr. C's rainy day here today. Eco Bro Rob, free coffee. Excellent. Joseph, awesome. Hi from the Gulf Coast of Texas. Duke's butternut, poblanos, tomatoes, zucchini, melons, etc. Potatoes. Awesome. Lots of good stuff. Excellent. We've got Renell's joining us from Phoenix, Arizona. Awesome. Excellent. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, the Coast to Coast crew are showing up to support this great show today. Thank you so much. They're awesome. Excellent, everybody. Thank you all for jumping into our chat. Let's see. Wait, we got a couple more sneaking in real quick here. We got Teacher. Hello. Great to see you here. We've got Sean the gardener from over in Cornwall, UK as well too. Dahlias, and more dahlias. Oh, and some onions. Awesome. Thank you all, everybody, for jumping into our roll call today. And again, if we didn't get you mentioned or you didn't get a chance to get in on the roll call today, keep jumping in there. Keep letting us where you're growing from, what you got growing on, all of that sort of stuff. We'll continue to show those throughout the show right there at the bottom of the screen. And as I mentioned before earlier, definitely drop in with some questions and all of that for our guests coming up here in just a minute. Let's take our quick first break here, and we'll be right back with Are You Following Me?
Hello, Let's Get Growing Live gardening community. I'm Charles Malky, biologist and co-founder of Ivy Organic brand products. Ivy Organic is based on whitewashing, a time-tested way to protect plants from summer sunburn, winter sun scald, pests, transplant shock, and environmental stresses. Unlike latex or tar-based products that crack, peel, and leave residue on your soil indefinitely, Ivy Organic is truly organic and a healthier alternative. It dries on porous, allowing plants to breathe and heal naturally without rotting. Also ideal for protecting your pruning and grafting wounds. Available in white for maximum reflection or natural tones like brown, green, gray, and grayish. Ivy Organic protects while blending beautifully with your landscape. Choose from the whitewash oil-free formula or the 3-in-1 plant guard made with natural oils to help repel insects and rodents. Protect your plants the smart, organic way with Ivy Organic. Learn more at ivorganics.com and wishing you all happy gardening.
Hi gardeners, I'm Brandy, the Suburban Gardenista, and I'm here today with your garden trivia question for this week. Your question for today is, how many seeds does one marigold flower make? And your options are A, 3, B, 30, C, 300, or D, 3,000. I'll be back a little bit later in the show with the answer.
All right. Back at it here. And again, thank you to our sponsor, Ivy Organics. Go check them out at ivyorganics.com and use our promo code GROW10 and save 10% off. And did you get the answer to Brandy's trivia question? Jump into the chat there. Let us know what you think the answer is. And she'll be with us in just a few minutes here to let us know here real soon. And also, did you get a chance to check out last week's Let's Get Growing show? That's right. Last week on the show, we had joining us James Weston, Farm Boy James, joined with us on the show, talk all about beekeeping and chaos gardening and his community compost program, as well as Hippie Chick Homestead. Angela joined with us as well too for Are You Following Me? So we had some really great guests last week on the show. So if you didn't get a chance to check that out, go back and check out last week's show. And on the Sunday edition of the Let's Get Growing show, that's right, we're here Saturday and Sundays. Jay and I got together to do a bit of a garden slideshow, take you around and look around all of the garden, kind of a little picture slideshow of everything. And then also, too, as I mentioned, just finished up and published a full video garden tour of all of the things growing on around the gardens here too. So you want to check that out. I'm sure Jay's popped a link into the chat for everybody if you want to go and check that out. And yeah, excellent. Right on. It's time to get moving on with the show and check out our first guest for the day. If I can get that out, it's time for Are You Following Me?
Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
All right. Joining us for our Are You Following Me today is Chad from Down Home Backyard Gardening, the Coast to Coast Network. How are you doing? Oh, let's see. I think we're muted.
Sorry, man.
It's all right. This is live streaming. This is what it's all about, man.
I muted it so you didn't hear me. And
yeah. You know how many times I've come on here and just started talking and going, and I have to look over at the chat there and see everybody going, we can't hear anything.
Right. Okay.
So as the host, I've done that plenty myself for sure.
Yeah, my bad. I'm doing good, man. Excited to be here today.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining with us here today. And as I mentioned to everybody earlier, we've got you here for our Are You Following Me segment. We're going to keep you around here for later in the show for our conversation with Brian coming up here just a little bit. But before we get on, let's dig into what's growing on with you, Chad. We did get you on our Monday show back when we had that going there for a little bit and had a great conversation with you. But I thought it'd be really great to have you here on our Are You Following Me? Because really dig into your garden story. So tell us a little bit about how you got into all of this fun gardening.
Well, I started gardening as a way to cope with a life event and a healthy way to cope with a life event.
One. That's my story too.
Then you know how it is. You get your hands in the dirt and it gets into your soul, and then hey, we're off to the races with gardening. And then for YouTube, I saw a video from our buddy Scott Head, Black Gumbo Southern Gardening.
Oh yeah,
single seed hashtag single seed challenge back in 2021, I believe, or 2020. And I was like, I can do that. And from then on, I've been stuck with seeing my face on YouTube. So,
it's awesome too. Again, too, Scott, really great guy. Wish he'd still be able to be around and do more, do his videos and everything. But he was one of our early guests on some of our first shows that we did here.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's a real good friend of the show and really enjoy what he's done on YouTube and gardening over the years as well too. So big shout out to Scott over there at Black Gumbo Gardening.
Absolutely. Love him. And then it's funny with one of the things that I've talked about in the past is you never know where your journey in life's going to take you. And it just happened to be that I clicked a video, watched a video, talked to my family, and I was like, I think I could do this. And I got support. And, that one video changed my entire trajectory of my life. So, it's amazing. And this community is amazing. I mean, look at all the people in the community in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Talking to each other. We're all friends because, you see the same people in your chats that I see in mine. And, it's a community. It's that gardening love of a community that we all have. It's great to see everybody. So hello, everyone who's saying hi to me.
Yes. So, again, too, one of the great things, and similar with your story as well, we've talked about this before, is, I found gardening, and for me, it was, and I showed at the beginning there in our clip, our Persian cucumbers out in the garden. It started with one little cucumber plant for me. I had a friend give me a cucumber plant, and I'd already been doing house plants most of my whole life. That's why he brought me the cucumber. Thought I'd know what to do with it. So he gave me this cucumber, and again, that changed the whole trajectory of my life, because that in turn introduced me to YouTube to figure out how to grow vegetables and fruits and things, edible things that I hadn't had experience with, so then I meet this, just like you said, just an amazing gardening community over the years, and learned so much from them, and all these just really fantastic gardeners, like Brian, for sure, who's going to be on as well too. Huge early influence on some of the things I was doing, and then that's what all of this is about. Again, I love coming here each and every weekend, mostly just to hang out with all these fantastic, amazing gardeners who show up to, join our show, join the conversation, to get in and
give me goosebumps, brother. Give me goosebumps.
Yeah, and that's what this is all about. I was looking for a way, to not have to, and I was telling you about this early in the week when we were hanging out, to not have to get in front of the camera, just myself, and talk about whatever. I used to do these Wednesday live streams and everything. I was like, what do we do that would just really liven up this and do something that really is kind of a way to give something back to the community in a way. So this show is for the community. We put this on, we do all the work to bring all these amazing guests and conversations together, for the gardening community, because it's just such a wonderful group of people, out there that have just given me so much over the years. So it's just really, it's really great to be able to do something like this, and great to have someone like you, who, again, I really have to commend too, because when I was searching around, through YouTube, which I'm always doing, trying to find new garden channels and all of that. I remember back when, back a while back ago, seeing this video, and because I love collaborations, used to not be as many throughout the gardening community, one or two here and there, would kind of happen or something, so, I've seen this coast to coast video, and I pop it on and I see all these, like, this guy's got these guys from all over the country, popping in and giving some advice, which I was just like, this is collaboration on, as I would say, in a tribute to Brian, on the next level, right? Collaboration on the next level, for sure. So I really have to commend you for taking and doing that sort of work and reaching out and putting together something like that as well too, for the community, because that's a huge thing as well too. So those folks who haven't seen or checked out the coast to coast videos and things that you put out, definitely go over to Down Home Backyard Gardening and check out what Chad's got growing on over there, and everybody else too.
I gotta say, well, first of all, I gotta thank you here in front of everybody for getting me on your show that Monday night, because you woke a sleeping tiger in me.
That's right. I love it.
But I agree with you. There's something about getting on here and talking to your people, to people that understand you, that understand your passion, that understand that, hey man, I just came in outside, I'm covered in sweat, mosquito bites, but I love it. You know what I mean? So thank you to you. Thank you for getting me on the show. And then the coast to coast collaborators, my family right there, all 11 of y'all. They took a chance reading an email from a goofy dude who had this crazy idea. Wasn't sure how we were gonna pull it off, but we figured it out, and we've been doing it almost 2 years now. and it's one of the highlights of each month. I have to say, for me personally.
Yeah, yeah, and such a great way of doing it too. And reaching out and having different guests from all over, the world. In fact, through here and stuff. I think it's really cool to be able to get perspectives from people who are growing in different areas, and you kind of package that all together in one great package each month with folks from all over in different, growing climates and all of that are, able to show what they've got growing on. So that's just really great. So again, what,
Yeah, it's cool.
What is like really again, what really inspires you the most when you're out in your garden space? What is it that really, really, brings you back to the garden when you're you know, uh, going about your day-to-day life and all of that, and you're just, something that's just, I got to go and I got to do something in my garden space. What is it? What are those things that inspire you to garden?
Man, that's a great question. There's not just one answer. One, it's just part of who I am. I've got to get out there. I've got to walk in the garden. There's an old saying, what is it? Farms need to hear the farmer's footsteps. I feel our gardens need to have us in them. Even if you're just out there sitting there enjoying that garden, or maybe you're out there because you had a hard day and you need a place to calm down and zen out and refocus and maybe talk to your maker, whatever. For me, getting in the garden is more than just gardening. There's definitely a mental health part of it for me, a soul recharge for me. And I love to try to show that and get everyone to think that, gardening's a little bit more than just planting. That there's so much what we as a person and we as a people, we as a parent or a grandparent can teach others through gardening and through YouTube. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's what I think of when I need to get out there and recharge.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I said, similar in our story as well too. Early as I was getting into gardening, it was just something that I found myself doing to kind of escape some things that were going on in my life. And I think, I've always said that, when we get out, we garden, it's kind of fun, a hobby, whatever we're trying to do at first, just kind of figuring things out. But I think when there's this point where you find yourself out there all the time and coming back in from the garden going, wow, I just feel so much better, as I'm dealing with so many really kind of hard and difficult things and stuff. So I think when people see and get that part of the gardening experience, that's just kind of one of those things that seals the deal. As I say it seals the deal when it comes to gardening, and you're gardener for life at that point.
It's in the blood.
Yeah, it definitely it gets into our soul and becomes who we are in a sense, though, too, because of that big factor. It's one of the, we have our friend Dr. Jeffrey Pierce, who comes on and joins with us every couple of months to talk about stuff. And the last couple of times we've done a lot of talking about gardening as therapy in a way. And it's just, you get so many things from a garden, but this idea that, we can go there and kind of heal ourselves, in a mental way, and that takes, because the world is just complicated and just bearing down on all of us in all sorts of different ways, and to have a space, right outside our door, hopefully for most of us, is presents a real relief from some of those things that we're dealing with. Right.
Yeah. One thing I do when I go out there, if I'm like just recharging, is this stays in the house. Disconnect. Just be in your garden, be out there with your plants, be out there with that lost family member or that memory or that whatever it is that you need to get out there and do while you're going out there. Just be out there, disconnect. The world will continue to roll without your phone next to you for 20 minutes. I promise.
Unless of course your phone is your camera. And I got to bring that along with you.
Disconnect.
Yeah, because you got to even do that too. Although in my case, it was kind of the opposite, because I haven't brought that darn camera out for a while. I've been disconnecting for a while. I was like, you know what? I need to get that camera out there and start filming some stuff for everybody and show them around what I got growing on around here. I'm not just this face on a show, you know, I've got an actual garden out there.
Right.
Right.
I hear
Exactly.
you. I hear you.
Yeah. Oh, real quick here, let's big shout out to Diana's Garden Menagerie with a nice little super sticker there for us.
That's
Appreciate the donation. That's really awesome. Thank you so much, Diana. Great. Awesome. And right on. So how's the garden growing this year? How's everything going?
Oh, it's my pepper year. I've got peppers coming out of my ears out there.
Nice.
I'm out of tomatoes because the heat is for me in this area. We're done with tomatoes. So I've actually pulled most of them. I'm pulling the rest of them tomorrow, and then it's off to the summer stuff: runner beans, okras. I'm sure something else I'll think of that's evading my thoughts right now. But yeah, I got lots of stuff growing. It's just my peppers are going absolutely nuts this year.
Oh, excellent.
Which is
What's
cool. Finally.
How many different varieties you got out there?
Oh, brother, too many to count. Everything from a jalapeno all the way to a ghost pepper, everything in between, the Scoville charts. I don't eat ghost peppers. I'm not like Bowtie Life David over there chowing down on million Scoville peppers.
I love growing them.
Yeah.
And I love challenging some friends to do it too. I've done several of that before as well, but you know, I'll grow some of the super hots and dry them out, make some powder so I can adjust the heat myself and, you know, that sort of thing. Cause I like things a little hot, maybe hotter than most people do normally, but not at a super hot level. Right.
Yeah, I can't do it. I grow a lot of hot peppers to give away to make jellies out of, and then I dry them out and grind them up and add them to bird feed to keep squirrels and all that out of the feeders.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea right there.
And it helps the birds. The heat of the peppers help the birds, and they don't taste the capsaicin, so it's a win-win for birds. So
yeah, exactly. That's a big thing that a lot of people don't know is that peppers, especially the really, really hot peppers, don't affect birds at all, so they can eat on that stuff. And that's a great idea. Incorporate that into your bird feed so that those other pests will stay away.
See a squirrel hauling butt across your yard with its tail on fire. It's not in the bird feeder, right?
Hopping and jumping and
yeah.
Oh my. Let's see here. We got a question. Shawnee dropping a question in here. Says, have you, Chad, mapped out your future new garden space on paper or software?
No. I've mapped it out in here.
Yeah.
But until I actually see the property and go through all that and get one, I have not yet. But I know what I want. I'll make it happen. And everybody will be along for the ride, riding shotgun on that one. So
that's right. You gotta do your first map of your new space too, and that's always your light map, right? You got to see how the sun and the shade is happening throughout the day, so that you can make sure you're placing everything just right.
That'll be an actual factor in my next place. I mean, you talk about being a gardener, right? I want the land and being able to garden over what the house is going to be. So yeah, it's in my blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So as you've been gardening over these years, what have you found to be your biggest gardening challenge?
Oh, gardening challenge. My biggest gardening challenge? I don't have enough space to garden.
That's
I could probably break that down in a couple of ways. One, the space. I have a very small suburban backyard, so pretty much my whole backyard is a garden. I've utilized just about all of it. So that's a challenge. I would say a mental challenge that I learned early is things are going to die. You are going to get pests. You are going to have those downs, and then you'll have those great ups. So you have to be able to mitigate that up here. So I think those are my two biggest challenges or past challenges that I've dealt with.
Yeah.
Especially as a beginner gardener, you want to go out and
thing, though. Yeah, exactly. We want to grow everything. We don't have enough space, no matter how much space we have, that sort of stuff. But yeah, that's also a big step in early gardening is understanding that plants are plants, and we're not going to be successful with everything. And we got to kind of roll with some of those challenges that we face. So a lot, plants are going to die. And as I and many gardeners I've interviewed, over the years, I've always said is that, you got to kill a lot of plants to grow a lot of plants. That's kind of the way it works. Is I've probably killed a lot more plants than I've probably successfully grown over the years. I don't know if that's exactly true or not, but you kill a lot for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to be, you got to roll with that though, right?
My mom's in the chat right there. Hey, Mom.
Mom's showing up to support you. That's awesome. Excellent. I love it when the family shows up. There we are.
Right. Yeah, you definitely kill things. One thing I don't think a lot of YouTube channels focus a lot on are the pests and dealing with the pest pressure. You know what I mean? So, man, once you wrap your head around that, you can start really understanding the full scope of your garden. That is for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I was getting there. But yeah, so again, what's is there a certain plant or or a crop that you try to grow that just doesn't work out for you, but you keep trying every year?
Brassicas. I can grow cabbage, so cabbage isn't the issue, but all the other ones, not lettuce either. I can grow lettuce, but Brussels sprouts, kale, those I don't know what it is. I can't grow. Okay, let me put it this way. They'll grow. The plants will get big, but like with Brussels sprouts, they won't get full. And by the time they start to actually put any kind of anything on, the heat is here. They're bolting. I've got white flies so no, they're gone.
Yeah, and that's always been kind of my challenge, though, I think, in growing brassicas. I got the same issue with brassicas is timing. Do I get them out in enough time to where they're going to be able to mature before all of like the summer heat and those things kick in? But the other part of that challenge is I never know when that's going to kick in. I mean, from season to season, I've had, we'll get 100 degrees in early mid-spring sometimes. And there you go. That's going to, start getting the summer started before we even had a spring. And luckily, though, I mean, this would have been the year. I should have gotten out with more brassicas this year because we've had such a cooler season this year. I'm sure they would have done very well for me this year. But yeah, kind of challenges on both ends. When do I get them started? And do I get them started with enough time before everything hits? And when is that going to happen? Right.
Yeah. I say it every year. I'm not going to grow any more brassicas, and every year I try again. So I say the same thing with squash in spring. I'm never going to grow squash again in springtime because of the vine borers. But then every spring I'm putting squash out. I'm like, this is the year that I'll beat the vine borers. So yeah,
I feel for you folks. You got to do with those vine borers.
Oh, I hate them, man.
No, I mean that's the thing. It's a challenge then, right? The garden and nature has challenged us to kind of figure this out, right? And then I might go season after season and be like, when am I going to give up on this? And then the next season, I'm like right back at it. Okay, we got it this year. We're going to get it this year for sure. And then every now and then you do. Every now and then you have a season where it just works out and it's really good, and certain things you weren't able to grow very well just start pop up and doing really well.
Yeah. That's gardening.
But
that's the fun thing about it.
And then, like you mentioned too,
every season, every year is a completely different adventure. So journal, y'all. Journal if you need to. Journal.
Yeah. Keep track of some of that stuff, like when did you plant the previous year? That way you can look back on it and go, okay, well, should you go earlier? Should you try a little later? That sort of thing. And even if your journal's really haphazard like mine, a bunch of sheets of paper that I gotta hope, that I don't even have organized or anything, I've still got, I still got this pile of papers of all of my maps and when I planted and what I planted and all that sort of stuff, that I keep from year to year so I can look back on.
Sounds like chaos journaling.
Chaos garden journaling for sure. Absolutely. Well, right on, Chad. Right. Well, this has been fun conversation here for Are You Following Me? But let's
get the man on. I'm ready.
Let's go ahead and take a real quick second break here, find out the answer to our garden trivia. We'll be right back here in just a minute and come hang out with Brian from Next Level Gardening.
Absolutely.
Hey gardeners, thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible feature visits.
I'm back with the answer to this week's trivia question. Do you know how many seeds are in each marigold flower? The correct answer is B, 30. Marigolds are a great plant for seed saving. French marigolds, which is what I have, will produce 30 to 35 seeds per flower head. African marigolds, which are a bigger and more fuller bloom, they can produce even more at up to 100 seeds each. And each plant can produce lots and lots of flowers. Let's just say you had one French marigold plant with about 10 flowers on it. That would produce over 300 seeds. And if you planted all those seeds next year, imagine how many flowers you would have. It's exponential. Marigolds are a great plant for the garden. They give a punchy color, they are easy to grow from seed, and they even keep the bunnies away. So go plant some marigolds, save those seeds, and have even more to share next year. And that's your garden trivia question for today. Thanks so much for playing. Enjoy the rest of the show and be sure to pop by and say hi at the Suburban Gardenista on YouTube and Instagram. And there'll be a link for you down in the description below. Thanks again and happy gardening.
All right, here we are back at it. And thank you, Brandy, for your garden trivia this week. I hope you all got the answer to the question right. Go and show some support to Brandy over at the Suburban Gardenista. And as she said, we've got a link right down below in the description for you there. Go leave her a comment. Let her know if you got her the question or the answer to her question right this week or not. For sure.
Show in 2 weeks. I'm excited to meet her.
Yeah, she's great. She's so awesome. So yeah, you'll definitely have fun chatting with her on your show for sure. All right, real quick here before we get moving on, I do want to mention to everybody about what we got coming up here tomorrow on the show. Tomorrow on the Sunday edition of the show is the third Sunday of the month. And on the third Sunday of the month, we put on our monthly gardening book club. That's right, our good friend Mr. Mark Boucher Colbert, Mr. MBC, joins with us live in the garden. And unfortunately, and this is a bit of news that just popped up actually here last minute, we were supposed to have Mark Valencia featuring his book this month, 100 Top Crops, but Mark had something come up last minute on us. So he'll be back. We've rescheduled, so we will have him for our book club coming up here. So keep an eye out for that. I'll let you know when he'll be back on the show. But we've got Kim Stoddard. She authored the book, The Climate Change Resilient Vegetable Garden. We featured on the book club I think it's been a couple years now, but she's back on with us. She's going to join with us to talk a little bit more about her book and garden writing and all of that as well too. She's an editor of Amateur Gardening Magazine, and so we'll talk all sorts of gardening and garden writing and all of that with her tomorrow. So definitely come and join with us for tomorrow's show. That'll be at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. So right on. Excellent. It's about time to get this going, man. I've been excited for this conversation, and I know you too have been, Chad, as well. So it's time for our featured guest.
You never know when you might learn something, and that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
All right. So let's welcome to the show Mr. Brian Lowell, Next Level Gardening, the gardens at Sky Ridge.
How are you?
Thanks for joining us today, Brian. Awesome to have you here.
It's great to be here.
Excellent. Right on. So yeah, we got Chad here with us. Most of the time we have our featured guests there, but we got Chad joining in on the conversation. Nice round table today. But let's get started as we usually get started with our guests, Brian. Let's dig back into your garden story. Let's talk a little bit about how you got started on this great garden adventure.
Well, thanks for having me. And first, before I start anything, I have to compliment you on all of your houseplants.
Oh, thank you.
Like that monstera right there. That's pretty good.
This one here. The add-on site.
Behind
me. Okay. Yeah, we got this. The big one. One.
People ask me, is there anything you can't grow? I say, yep, houseplants.
Oh, that was my first thing.
Was it?
Yeah. As I was mentioning to Chad and everybody else who's followed along with us knows that I started with this cucumber, right? But I'd grown houseplants. My very first plant was I think I was 6 or 7. And let's see, right up above here is a spider plant. And my mother had one of those and taught me how to propagate it and get it started myself. And I had my first little spider plant when I was like 7 years old in my room and all of that too. So always been able to grow those, but it's not, it's just a little while back ago that I got into food gardening and growing, and that really changed everything.
Yeah, well, I'll sit there on the couch watching TV, and there'll be a plant over here just screaming for attention. And it just doesn't faze me at all. But I didn't actually start with vegetables either. I helped my grandparents in their garden when I was little, and I thought that was fun. And I remember they'd grow their beans in like this tunnel, and I remember running up and down the tunnel with my sister and stuff like that. But my first real gardening experience was a friend of mine gave me a dahlia.
Oh,
they were, and it was the biggest thing that I had ever seen in my life when it bloomed, and I just thought that was so cool. And I was introduced to his neighbor, who was actually my sister's piano teacher, and she was a certified master gardener who grew tons of dahlias and competed in the fair and dahlia shows and stuff like that. And so I ended up competing with my best friend at different shows for dahlias. And so I think that because I'm kind of a competitive person, and so that kind of got the juices flowing for gardening. It wasn't until years later that I started vegetables. I'm an artist by training, by trade. And so for me, which you can see in my second channel, The Gardens at Sky Ridge, I mean, that's the ultimate expression of my creativity, is creating these garden worlds that not only do I get to live in and see, but get to share with everybody else. And so I didn't start my food gardening until my son was, practically, he's just little. Today's his 18th birthday, by the way.
Oh, wow. Time flies. I've already got grandkids. I'm telling you, it's blowing me away.
But yeah, so that's when I started vegetables, and it was something new to me. And so it kind of took over my love of gardening, switched over to vegetables for a while. And I didn't do a lot of creative, gardening with flowers or anything like that. And so, yeah, that's my history.
Yeah.
And I've been gardening for probably 35 years.
35. 35 years. But it just kind of took you a while to kind of get into it, though.
It did. I was busy with other things. My son has no interest in gardening whatsoever at this point in his life.
Oh man, that was the same thing as I was getting into gardening myself. My daughter was around the same age when I was first starting to get into outdoor food gardening and that sort of thing, and she hadn't presented any interest hardly until the last couple of years, and that kind of coincided with the grandkid. Right, she had a kid of her own, and all of a sudden she's thinking about things differently, and now it's like, oh, maybe I need to get a little interested in where my food comes from, the food that I'm giving the kid and all that sort of stuff. So, one of my best tomato plants out there is hers. I finally got her to plant out her first tomato this year. We went out and did some nursery shopping, and she picked out a tomato plant, planted it, got it all set and everything. And I finally got her on board with me now, but it's taken years.
So there's hope for my son, is what you're saying.
That's right. It's right.
All right.
Eventually it'll come around to it.
I hope so.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see here, everybody. If you're watching with us right now, definitely jump into the chat if you can there. Drop in any sort of questions you might have for Brian here. But let's dig in just a little bit more into gardening. When you first started gardening and growing and all of that, what were kind of some of those early gardening challenges that you were dealing with and had to overcome?
Well, when I started, I wasn't an organic gardener, and so I had a spray for everything. So
yeah,
if there was a pest, I didn't have too much of a problem with pests because I could just go spray them off and disease and whatever. So it wasn't until I started vegetable gardening that I thought, if it's going to kill all that stuff, it probably isn't the greatest for me to be on my vegetables. And so why else would I be gardening too? Yes, it was enjoyable, but you want something that's better than what you can get in the store. And so if you're spraying poison over them, it's not probably better. So the challenges for me, once I started organic gardening, was realizing that, like I heard you say just a little earlier, you got to kill plants in order to grow plants. There's no way around it. And if you can just learn to enjoy the process and the little bits that you learn every year, it sting away a little bit of the failures.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big part of it, right? Is overcoming those things that can be kind of, those challenges that we just early on is like, oh, this is just going to be too complicated, and in the case that you're talking about, things are dying and things are not working out too well. And we're thinking of all these other methods that we probably aren't preferable in an organic gardening to take care of stuff and do things. And I had that same challenge as well too, because we just don't know. And we just take the information that's out there or, really widely available. And another thing too, is if you're out, starting a garden, you're out shopping for things that you're, going to be using in your garden. And you go into these stores and places and stuff, and their shelves are just full of some of these chemicals and these things, big bright colors and all this sort of stuff. And you're just like, oh, okay, this is what I need. Right. And you start pulling things off and using them before, hopefully watching enough of folks like ourselves, yourself, and other people out there who are sharing, their garden experiences and learning that, organic gardening is a better method to go. And in my sense of things, it's just less dangerous. When I think about the possible downstream effects of using things, like glyphosates or other types of, fungicides and things like that, then I'm just like,
better options.
There's no way. Yeah. And in the long run for me too, was early on was that idea like, okay, well, if I can grow my own food, I want it to be healthier food. Right. And it's just kind of counterproductive, right, to be using that other stuff to grow food with.
Yeah. And it really just pushes the problem down the road or makes problems worse. You're killing the pests, but you're also killing the bugs that prey on those pests. And so you're just setting yourself up for further failure down the road. and you're killing the soil bacteria, which I don't know. I would say even maybe when I started my channel, you didn't hear a lot about even soil bacteria at that point. It's become a lot bigger in the last few years. But just how those can affect everything above ground. It just, you know, you don't want to mess with that cycle. And if you can just hold off for a couple of years, it might be bad. You know, like I have my companion planting book, and I didn't ever believe in companion planting before, mostly because there's a lot out there that's not even real. But it does take a bit to get your ecosystem going. It's not happen immediately, especially if you've been using, you know, all these other products that we've been talking about.
Yeah, no, that's such a great point too. It comes into those early garden challenges for new gardeners, especially, is moving from that sort of stuff, or even in general, is that building a good organic gardening is a process. We're trying to build into one, and it's going to take, you know, a few seasons to build up good soil life, you know, and thanks to, you know, researchers like Dr. Elaine Ingham, you know, who we lost this last year, you know, developing and giving us more understanding about the soil food web. And more people are learning more and more about the importance of that soil life, that soil structure, you know, that we need in our gardens to really produce, you know, just really great, fantastic, you know, fruits and vegetables in our gardens, right?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like, let's get him back in here. I think, there we are. Where'd you go, Chad? Are you there? Can you hear me? I don't know. I don't think Chad's hearing us. He must be dealing with something. All right. Well, anyways, but yeah, again, really important to build soil life. What are some of those points in that process of learning about building soil that, you know, you find to be some of the more important points?
I think the addition of organic matter, and if you can produce your own compost, that's like gold medal level right there. If you can't, then get the best you can get, but that's going to fix almost every soil problem, whether you have clay, sand, if you're lucky enough to have a loamy soil, it's still going to fix that, because it just brings so much life into the soil that helps fix it. The organic matter itself breaks up even clay. I would argue you could add some gypsum in there to help it faster, but the more you can add each year, and again, you don't have to bring in truckloads the very first year. A nice 3-inch layer, if you can do that, is great. And then do it again, maybe bi-yearly if you grow all year like I do, or early spring, late winter if you're just, you know, growing throughout the spring and summer months. But compost is just irreplaceable in my opinion. Yeah,
you gotta composting exactly is, I think that was really the game changer for me as you know, I was, you know, pushing and moving my garden to be as organic as possible and all of that. But you know, starting, and whether you got, you know, all sorts of different types of compost piles, bins, and things that we can do in order to do that. But any way you can is a great addition to your garden and that garden soil, because you're right. You know, that really is like the building blocks of all of the life that's going on in the soil. You know, whether it's the fungi that we're looking for, or all the microorganisms and things that we need, they're all feeding off of that organic material in one way or another.
Yeah, and you can mulch too, but mulch, it can be the same thing. I mulch with compost, and I let the worms and stuff pull it down. I didn't really mulch at my last house. We lived by the coast, and it was like a hot day was 82 and a cold winter day was like 52. And so we didn't have those extremes. We didn't have hot sun baking the soil. And so it wasn't as much of an issue, and I didn't even really talk about it that much. But then we moved here where we're a little more inland, and it's dry and it gets hot in the summer. Not hot for Chad, but hot for me. But you know, that mulch changed everything at that point for me.
I can hear you now.
It's nothing I haven't said to you before.
That's right. I love it. That's great.
Hey, I'm just
Yeah.
glad I can hear you because for like 15 minutes, y'all were just like talking
Yeah, I
mouse.
was wondering. I was like, is it Chad's a little quiet over there? What's going on?
Yeah, every fourth syllable I heard y'all.
Oh my. Oh my.
Sorry.
Excellent. Well, now that you're on here, feel free to jump in whenever you want. Let's get in on a audience question here real quick. Oh, Jay dropped one up here. Can Chad and Brian speak to their connection in the garden world and personal lives?
I can let Chad take that since he initiated it.
Yeah.
What? Man, you can look at me. No, I'm joking. This book started the whole connection between us. I read it. I was reading it one evening, having a margarita. Keep it real. And I was like, man, this book is great. I wonder. Oh man, he's not going to talk to me. Screw it. I'm going to find him on Instagram and I'm going to send a message. And I wish I had saved it because I don't remember what I said to you, but basically I just wanted to get his permission to do a book review of his book. And I think it was within 20 minutes, I got a chime and I was like, what is this? Holy crap. He just responded. And from then on, man, he's been my YouTube guru and we've become very close friends. I consider him and his family. And yeah, just great guy right there that you're interviewing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that email from him out of the blue, obviously. And I don't know, I'd gotten emails before similar, but Chad had such it didn't sound like he had an agenda. He was just authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Just hit that. And I got it. I was sitting there watching TV at night and I got it on my phone and I thought I'll just email him right back because otherwise I would forget. And yeah, I've been out to visit him. He's been out to visit me and we've definitely built a connection. How long has it been? 3 years or longer?
Yeah. 3.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Whenever your book came out, brother. Right after, because I pre-ordered it as soon as you mentioned it on one of your videos. I pre-ordered it, so I mean, I got it, read it.
4 years.
Okay, so then,
yeah, that's great, and I love that when I hear about that throughout the gardening community is these sort of connections and collaborations. As I was mentioning earlier, back in the day, I don't know, many years ago, there wasn't very much of that. And there's tons of just really amazing people in the gardening community. And as you said, Brian, is this you find out as you get to talk to a lot of these folks, and is that they're just regular, really awesome people, and that's just one of the things that I found, as well as I got to meet in real life, that some of my favorite garden YouTubers and creators, and that is that just these really authentic people. And again, that's kind of where this whole idea of this show is about, is to bring folks on and to talk to all these different voices and people who are doing all this really great, as my friend says, garden luminaries out in the gardening community, is to have these conversations to show people that we're just regular, real people out there, sharing and hopefully helping people along in their garden, stories and adventures as well too.
For real.
I
thought one of the coolest things,
gardeners are kind. I love it.
Yeah, when I went out to meet him, he was like, yeah, man, just walk around the property, film whatever you want. I'll be over here gardening. I was like, it's the coolest thing ever, man. I was like in heaven checking out his property because it's pretty cool, let me tell you. So,
and that was we'd barely started anything at that point when you were here. I mean, the vegetable garden was in.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of my first day over when I first got to go over and meet John Kohler over in his garden, in his front yard garden, that I had remembered following along with him as he was building out the whole front yard beds and constructing and all. I remembered all these videos, but to stand in that same garden, I was like, oh, wow, this is great, But again, talking about how cool and nice folks are and everything too. John walked right up to me and he's like, hey, you got a YouTube channel? It's like, you want to make a video? Let's do it. And I was like, yes, let's go.
I think he was the first YouTuber that I watched, actually.
Yeah, he was definitely one of the very first. Ray Browning over at Praxis 55712. That guy, he was like the very first. I remember it was a tomato plant. I wanted to know some tomatoes. I looked up tomatoes, and his video popped up, and I watched him first. But John was right there with him as well too. OGs, him and Gary Pilarchik as well. You know, just another great original gardener on YouTube. Yep. Right on. Let's see here. Let's get into another question here. Shawnee asks, Brian, do you have any stories about theft in the garden? Do you get people taking stuff out of your garden coming through there? Are you close enough to a community for people to?
No, at this house, I mean, we're gated, so people can't really take anything. I don't think I did. Yeah. And I didn't really do much front yard stuff at my last house either. So the only things that took stuff is pests, rodents, and.
Well, I've got a rat that's stealing everything. So.
Oh my, yeah. Again, too, I feel that for you guys with the animal pests, those are really tough for sure. I did it, you know.
Someone was stealing stuff out of my backyard.
Yeah. My gardens are so public facing. They're right along alleyways. People are walking through all the time and everything too. So, for the most part, I've come to deal with the fact that things are just going to come up, or every now and then I'm going to have somebody just going to walk out the side, and there's going to be someone just standing there loading their pockets up with something or doing whatever. So as far as those parts of the garden are concerned, I'm like, okay, that's going to be all right. We've got some other spaces that are a little more secluded and that I, keep most things from. But I do have one. I remember I had a watermelon in the back alleyway that I was growing, and it was probably one of my first best successful big watermelons, right? And I had it back. I'm trying to hide it and everything too as it's getting bigger and more visible. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm going to try to hide this thing. And I knew. I mean, we come out there one day and that thing was gone. But the problem is that, again, and you find this, and I'm sure you've had this question before, Brian, right? When do I harvest my watermelon? Knowing when to, and figuring out, the dried tendrils or the yellowed bottom or all these different types of things that we look for and everything. It had none of those. It wasn't even ripe yet. So whoever got that thing got a really unripe watermelon. So
terrible. And they're like, you can't.
Right. Serves them right.
Yeah.
Right on. Excellent. Yeah, definitely feel free, Chad, jump in if you got any questions here you want to jump into. I've got other questions here.
Well, I missed the first 10 minutes of y'all talking, but that's stupid internet, I guess. Brian, if you were to tell somebody that's thinking of starting a gardening YouTube channel, what would be the three best advices you could give that person? Doesn't strictly have to be gardening, but you know what I mean.
First of all, gardening has to be your passion.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried to start a couple of other YouTube channels of things that weren't my passion and didn't work so well. So it has to be your passion. You have to be yourself, and you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
Those are the three top tips that I can give you. And then once you get a little further into it, pay attention to your analytics and
really
but do what the algorithm wants you to do.
That's right. Which I have the hardest time with, I'm telling you. Oh.
Yeah.
It's tough one to try to be feeding the monster, but if you really want to be successful and building an audience and doing that sort of stuff, those are the certain things that you got to do.
Yeah, be a rebel and be successful on YouTube. You just can't.
Yeah, especially anymore too, is there's more and more people who are coming online and onto YouTube and doing things, and especially in gardening, there's who knows, probably 100 new garden channels popping up every week, so there's folks jumping in and doing things, and you got to kind of get in there and like you said, I think one of the best thing is just be authentic to yourself. It's a tough thing that when you're getting in front of a camera, right? How do I portray or how do I talk to a camera, and do that sort of thing? And it's kind of tough for people at first. You can go back to some of my first videos and see how much of a hard time it was for me, You know,
Yeah.
those things make me cringe sometimes when I look back at some of those, and I'm like,
I took
oh
my first
man,
video down for a while because it was so cringy. I put it back up because I felt like it was important for people to
Yep.
see that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it was, and in fact, I was watching it the other day with my dad. I'm like, look at this. This is what I used to do. I would pretend there was like multiple cameras on me, and I would like stop with this one, and then I'd turn, put the camera here, and then turn like I was looking at a new camera. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
It's so funny. I know. I
But
love
it's all
it.
about learning, right? It's all about trying to figure out what we're doing, how to do it, in that spacing, getting that comfortableness. You know, it's just everything there is to being in front of this right here is different than what you would think it is. So I always tell beginner gardeners, man, film 10 to 15 videos that you're never going to post, but film them as if you're going to, edit them out, and just start getting used to everything. I think that's very important also.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I mentioned Ray over there at his old channel. He's retired now and isn't around anymore, but he was one of those people who when I was first starting to think about doing my channel, I did similar thing, Chad. I filmed a couple of things, edited them up, and, was just kind of seeing how I could, how I could work with the, the different tools that I was going to need to put those out. And then I sent them over to him. I was like, hey, what do you think of this? How does this look? And, got his, and he sent me back some notes and those sort of things. And I think, though, as you're saying, Brian, that, I keep up those old ones as well, too, for the, that same sort of thing, to kind of, show folks this is how, how we get started. We all get started, in this place, especially, and it's not as comfortable and everything. But, those two videos I sent over to him, one I did first and then a second one I sent after that, are probably the only two that I still don't put up online. They're there, but I, every now and then I'll pop them up and show them off for like a brief minute on a live or something like that to kind of talk about how I got started and stuff. But the only two probably that I don't, but, and they were just in that sort of sense, Chad, that, I wasn't intending initially in putting them out to begin with. So that's one of the main reasons why I don't keep them up in a sense, because they were for that purpose.
I think
No, go ahead.
Quick.
Right.
I think another good thing is, and it's hard because I do enjoy watching other gardeners. I don't watch many garden YouTube channels because I don't want to compare myself. And this is probably a lot for new people. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't think you have to be like others, because there is an audience out there for everybody, for every personality. My son used to watch this guy that all he would do was chug soda and burp, and he had millions of subscribers. I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
I know. Believe me, I've thought about that so many times. I'm like, and this goes back to your initial point, Brian, is that gardening's my passion. Gardening's what I do. Gardening's what I love. It's what I'm going to be spending my free time doing otherwise. Right. So, and I've tried other things. I'm like, let's do a little bit of this. I still got a channel out there called Enoch Vlogs where, I'm doing and trying out and testing out different things, that I could do that, there were kind of other somewhat interests of mine in a way, just to see what I could, find an audience for maybe. But it's always, I come back to this, I come back to the gardening and just figure, again, just be myself, do the things that, I really enjoy doing. And that itself will, relate to the audience, what I'm about. And if I can build an audience around that, then that's the best place for me.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's get into another question here. We had a question from Diana's Garden Menagerie. Brian, how is your raised bed project going? You got a raised bed project you got going on currently?
Yeah, Chad.
Tell us all about it.
So this has been a really weird year for me, YouTube wise, because I didn't have a vegetable garden for the first months of this year. And so how do you do a vegetable YouTube channel without a vegetable garden? But I did it, and it's been okay. But yeah, we just got it finished. I don't know, it was 6 weeks ago maybe. So I'm looking out there, and there's definitely my first zucchini's ready to pick. I've got some little baby beans coming on, so it's starting to fill in. It's still a little sparse, but it's going to get there within the next probably 3 weeks. So it's good. I'm loving the raised beds. You know, I had to tear out the original because I went cheap when we moved in because, you know, when you move, you're spending money on a ton of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to get it in quick because I had a channel to do. So I bought, you know, just regular pine boards, put them together. Well, they were already starting to rot. And I had root knot nematodes in some of them. I was getting bindweed, which I had never dealt with in my life. And so I thought, okay, now's the time. Before these things get worse, I just need to rip it all out and start over. And so I did that. Went with metal beds this time, which I'm really, really happy with. They're higher, so I can actually, you know, before my beds were so they were 6 inches. We had good soil below that, and so roots could go down further. But I had to put gopher wire because we have gophers, and so I could not put, you know, I couldn't grow pole beans because I couldn't get a pole deep enough to be sturdy. Couldn't grow long carrots. So now I'm like, okay, I'm finally growing lots of beans. I can grow carrots. I can do anything I want now with this new garden, and I'm very excited for this year now.
Awesome.
It looks great. It looks absolutely great. And I'm jealous, and I'm not the only one. If you're jealous also of Brian's grapes, drop it in the comments because I know, good Lord, bro, those things look so good, man.
I did learn something, though, because I got, like, some of them are the Thompson seedless, and I've had Thompson seedless at the grocery store, and mine are so much smaller. So all my grapes are a lot smaller than the ones in the grocery store, and I found out that there's 3 ways that professional growers get their grapes bigger. The simplest way is I should have cut off the bottom third of each of the groups or bunches, and then they'll get bigger. They also spray them with hormones, which I'm not going to do.
Right.
And then exact right time, I'm not going to do this either. I might try it on one Sunday, but it's a little scary. They girdle the trunk of the vine. So they cut a little bark off all the way around at just the right time. And it gets, instead of the vine putting the sugars back into the roots, it forces them to stay in the vine and put them into the grapes. Seems scary to me. So I might try it today, but not right now while they're so small.
Oh my. Yeah. I was just doing some research on grapes myself the other day because I got these from Dave Wilson Nurseries, got this blueberry grape I got through our sponsor, IV Organic. And again, it's one of those things, you get it and you're like, oh my God, stick it and put it in somewhere. And then I've let it grow. And I'm like, you know, I need to figure out what to do. It's getting wild and crazy and everything. And then I'm like, okay, I really need to research how to do these grapes right. And now I kind of wish I'd have gotten in and did that right as I got that thing, because now I'm like, I got to find and create, you know, and cut and prune and create a leader and do these sort of things because I'm growing it on a fence and try to do it again to get the most optimal output I can off of them. But I did notice though too, we got grapes that are changing colors out there. I was just showing on my garden tour, so I'm kind of excited about actually getting to try some. But yeah, I haven't heard that method though too about girdling the stems though too. That's something I'll have to look into as I move into next season with them.
And I probably would have done what you did, but you know, for me, this goes back into the creating a garden world. This was in the Mediterranean area, and so I wanted it to look like a vineyard. And so I researched how the big vineyards do it, and just shrunk it down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of my thought process, was like, let's go find some, you know, videos or something about folks who are doing this professionally, you know, similar like when I was researching potatoes, you know, go look at what potato farmers are doing and these sort of things and kind of see how that'll work in a backyard type of situation. And yeah, so after I was watching, I was like, oh man, I should have got on this just a little bit earlier. But I'm sure it'll be all right. Everything will be just fine in the long run. They grow for years and years and years, you know, so exactly. Let's see here. Let's get another question in here. Shawnee Grows asks, tell us about a time you solved a problem in the garden.
Well, I just out all my vegetable beds and replaced them. So that was definitely solving quite a few problems at one time.
Right. something you remember, like, oh man, when you figured that out or you did that, it just kind of changed how things started working for maybe something in particular, something that was just
drip irrigation. I
Yeah.
cannot be trusted to water. Ask my houseplants. I cannot be trusted with that at all. And so if I can automate it, that's the only reason that I can keep this many plants alive at one time.
Right, exactly. I think drip irrigation's a good one. I had a system that kind of messed up on me, and I want to rework it and get it reset up. But it is, especially in like hot climates, though, too. I mean, drip irrigation can be a savior for sure, because again, you just one day, one afternoon on a hot day or something, you forget about doing something, and boom, things have dried up. Your plants are like, soil's hydrophobic, and you're like, what am I going to do? Especially if you got containers, right?
Oh, containers for sure. Or if you're like me and you do the opposite thing and you leave the hose on all night long, multiple times.
Oh my. I just had a hose burst the other day too. That's always the worst, because again, I was gone for like a couple of hours too. So I come back and there's a lake outside of my house. I'm like, no.
Yeah, but I tend to notice it when I'll go out to my truck in the morning and see water out in the street. I'm like, it didn't rain last night.
Yep.
Crap.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
run to the back. Yeah, it's been on all night. All right. Well, I'm not watering for 3 days, so we're good.
Oh my. Yeah, and that's the thing, with the system and a timer system and all of that, those hoses and those things got to be on, and so in hot days, some of them, it happens.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Big Will Dog. And the question is, Brian, who first inspired you to start putting gardening info on YouTube? Did you have like a particular inspiration for wanting to start YouTube? You did mention you were trying other things. Were you doing some of those other things first?
I tried the other things after my tomato video went wild, and I thought, oh, well, I can just do any channel I want to. I got a little bit big for my britches with my grandparents.
Yes.
And so we were doing keto at the time. I'm like, I can do a keto channel.
Yeah.
It was definitely not my passion, for sure.
Right.
When I started, there weren't a ton of gardeners. I remember the first, other than John Kohler, there was another nursery like back in Maryland or something, and they did like these in studio like Saturday morning garden shows, but then it was promoting their nursery, and I would watch those. And I watched a lot of like English garden shows.
Yeah,
you just put on YouTube. But the way I got on YouTube was actually had nothing to do with having a show or anything. I redid my backyard at our old house and made it was all tropical, and I had friends and family out of state who wanted to see it. They'd heard what I'd done, and so I did a little garden tour, which is still up, and it's technically my first video. I just kind of going around showing what it looked like, but then I didn't know how to email it because it's too big of a file, and I had a YouTube account, and so I just put it on there, and went back a year later. It had 1,000 views, a couple comments. I don't think I had any subscribers, but I thought, well, that's crazy. I don't know 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, maybe, I just done this backyard and just redid my raised beds. I thought maybe, it's a unique looking yard. Maybe I could get some views that way. I do have the knowledge. I'll give it a try. Maybe it can, be my gardening budget for the year. It can bring in a little bit of extra money for that.
Yeah.
Did not ever have because nobody had. I don't know if like the biggest gardening channel even had 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
It wasn't a realistic like aspiration to do it for full-time income. It just wasn't. So I think that was probably
a
good.
True passion project for sure.
Yeah, because I wasn't like expecting anything. What was the question? Oh, so I wasn't inspired by any one particular gardener to do it. I just did it as a hobby and as a fluke, honestly.
Oh, right on. Excellent. Yeah. I mine comes back to again. Yeah. I was going to say, mine comes back to old Ray Browning again, too. He has huge influence on the beginning of it, but he was giving away his first couple of cameras he used for his videos that he was making. And I entered his little contest to win these cameras, right? Without a clue of what in the world I would do with them if I got them. I was just like, oh, I really like this channel. He's giving this away. Let me see if I can get them. But I didn't win the cameras. But that kind of stuck with me, though. Was like, what would you have done with those anyways, right? And so finally, eventually, I was like, well, you know what? I'm carrying this camera around with me in my pocket everywhere I go, and let's see about making some videos and doing that. For sure.
And this is how much gardening has changed just in the last, I don't know, 7 years. Because when I first started, I was looking at what kind of products that I could have affiliate links for Amazon. And there was like nothing. I mean, there was like no garden products whatsoever. I mean, very little things. And so to see how it is now, I mean, it's just exploded.
Full on industry. Yeah, I remember kind of watching Epic Gardening. I'd been following along with what Kevin was doing over there, as his channel was, well under 100,000 or so, just kind of, in fact, I learned how to create my first worm bin from a worm bin video he did early on, and just remember, like you're saying, it was maybe even 8 years ago, maybe or so, just prior to, the pandemic and all of that, when everything really took off, right, for the gardening world and all of that. Just watching like, oh my gosh, look at this guy. He's just like grabbing, every time I turned around, he was adding like another 100, 200,000 subscribers to his channel. And then that was when that kind of moment was like happening, was kind of like, oh, wait a minute, maybe there is something to this whole gardening YouTube genre type of thing, maybe there's a little bit more to it, than just putting out videos and sharing with everybody and just kind of connecting with community. That it could be a real business.
Yeah, I feel like I was lucky in a way that I started when I did, because I think I had just enough videos built up for when COVID hit. I think if I had started earlier than that or later than that, I'm not sure how that would have worked out. So I do feel like COVID was a blessing for me and my family, for sure. I mean, that's just kind of when everything took off, and when my other business tanked at the same time because of COVID. So I never had to make that decision of quitting a full-time job to go after YouTube, because my business quit me at the same time YouTube took off. So
yeah, kind of opposite for me, though. It was just the wrong timing that COVID hit for me, just as far as things. And it was a time where I literally had to take time and back off from everything. And it was like, oh. And throughout that whole thing, like I said, I watched these channels and I'm like, oh my gosh, I needed to be doing this now, but I can't, that sort of thing. So I kind of wish I'd gotten in on it at that point in time. But still, again, like you said, this is a passion project. This is something I just enjoy doing. So to me, I don't look at it in numbers. I don't look at it in that sort of sense. It's just more so than just being able to connect with people and to, like this, get to meet some of these people that I admire so much, as the little intro to this segment is, it's just a great opportunity to be able to share with people. Okay, let's see here. I know we got a couple more questions in here, unless you got one there, Chad.
No, I'm good. Let's see what the viewers have to say.
Let's see here. Brian, what moment made you realize Next Level Gardening had become more than a YouTube channel? I guess we kind of touched on that a little bit, right?
Man, I'm interested on this one.
David has some deep questions. I'm not sure how to take that, like a YouTube channel. I mean, I think the fun part for me, so there's a couple things. So when I think I was at 50,000 subscribers, and the numbers on YouTube, you're just sitting there alone in your garden. So it's hard to fathom numbers like that.
Mm-hmm.
We were at a Dodger game at Dodger Stadium, and I looked around and I'm like, I wonder how many people are in here.
Right.
And I looked it up on my phone and it was 50,000. It holds 50,000 people. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a lot of people. And then it was when I was getting comments from people all over the world. In fact, funny how things are going right now, but I got a message from someone in Iran, and they said they were using my channel as curriculum in their school.
Really?
In Iran. And I'm like,
whoa.
So
Dude.
YouTube is more than a channel. I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can take that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get recognized by people. You go out any places or go to like garden shows or something and get recognized.
Just the right amount. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have to be like Brad Pitt. Well, I'm not like Brad Pitt for sure. But you know, you're not accosted everywhere you go. But it is nice going back to being a lonely type of business. It is nice to run into people who you can talk about it with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of when I felt like, and mind you, at the time when it happened, my channel was not very big, maybe 1,500 or so, something like that. I was at an heirloom exposition, just standing there talking with my friend Wendy Fan, and we had this lady come walking up to us, and she recognized Wendy first, right? And walked right up to us, this English accent. She'd traveled all the way over from the UK to California to go to this exposition and to meet her favorite garden YouTubers there, and said hello to Wendy. But as I'm standing there, she turns and looks at me and she goes, "And you're the urban gardener." And I was like, wow. "Whoa, all right, I've made it. I'm done. Pack it up. This is good."
The funniest one for me, I was sitting at Disneyland eating lunch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
this big burly motorcycle guy comes walking up to me, and I'm like Brian? I'm like, yes. I love your channel. I had to say that. I never say that to anybody. I'm like, okay, thanks.
That's so great. Yeah. And still, again, we're just regular people in a sense too, because I've had a few other ones as well too. You know, a couple of different garden shows who will say that. And like I had one family and they wanted to take a picture, like a big old family photo with me and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is just really different. I'm just a regular guy. But it is really kind of fun to see that we're making those type of connections though, right?
It's definitely a strange feeling, but a cool one too.
Yeah. You get some folks over there when you were over at Baker Creek.
Yeah, I got 2 there, and then I got 1 in San Antonio about a month ago that floored me. So it's really cool. It's cool to know that you're having an influence on people and how they garden and how they provide food for their families and things like that. So it's definitely a blessing. It's not something I'm looking for, let me put it that way, but when it happens, it's definitely like a blessing for sure, like what you both said.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Serena asks, do Brian and Chad do live streams on their channels? Well, I know Chad does now. That's for sure.
He does.
Yeah, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time on my channel, y'all. Yeah, it's fun. I love it.
Yeah, now that we got Brian on a couple, I know you had him on your channel a while ago. We had him here. Maybe we'll see Brian doing some live streams, right?
I know.
Maybe.
We'll see. I don't know. They stress me out.
They stress you out. Yeah.
I've done like 2. And I think the first or the second one, I think it was when I hit 400,000. I think it was like I was making it like an event.
Yeah.
I don't like missing, like even right now, it's freaking me out if somebody might be saying something over here to me and I missed it.
Yeah, I know.
And it was like flying by, and I'm like, I was just a nervous wreck the whole time. I had to get off and just like go lay down because it was crazy.
Yeah, I know. I remember watching Mark Valencia at Self-Sufficient Me doing one of his first live streams that he did. And I just saw that comment section it's just moving and moving and moving. It's like you don't even have time to look or see anything happening. That would totally stress me out. It's enough that we have enough here already too today and on bigger shows and everything when we got a lot of people. There's so much that I'm just fortunate I've got my J-Bot in the background here keeping an eye on things for me, because it gets so hard to keep up with all of the chat and the conversation and things that are going on.
Jay is great. She helps me on mine.
I appreciate that.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Big time, big time. What a real big help for sure, because yeah, it stays like this where the conversation's so big. So again, we're all, as much as we'd like to be a bigger show and we'd like to have a big audience, man, I don't know how much more, you can really do with a show like this when it comes down to audience size, because again, so many people get forgotten or passed up or all that sort of stuff too. And you want to really kind of serve your audience, and that's a big part of doing live streams, why we set the show up the way we have, but it can be stressful.
Yeah, it can.
That's why I get other people on though with me. You know what I mean? So I'm not just doing it myself.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the 400,000, Brian, because you did a live where you were sitting there drinking coffee, watching it was either the 300 or the 400, whichever one of those ones that you hit, where you kept updating and you were showing everybody until you hit that mark. And I remember thinking, man, that has got to be the coolest freaking feeling ever of what you were doing there. So that sticks to me when I think of lives. Like, I'm like, bro, how cool is that?
I don't even remember doing that live.
Oh, you did it. So I was like, it might not have been a live. Maybe it was a video. I don't remember, but you did something.
I know I did that for the 100,000. I was in my robe because I wasn't even expecting it to happen that early. I thought I had a little later in the day for that to happen. And so
it was that one, because you were in a robe drinking coffee.
Yeah. That was 100,000. I was out there crying. My nephew and niece still make fun of me for that.
Yeah.
Well, if I get blessed enough to hit that spot, I'll be bawling like I just skinned my knee. So it's all good. Y'all be prepared.
You'll be there.
Yeah. I like that visual, because I think it goes along with kind of how I see your channel and you yourself, and all of that is, and thing I connected with, I think, a lot early on with what you do is, again, going back to that being authentic and all of that as well too, is that, you're just really an open person and that sort of thing. And there's so many different things that, has that kind of surprised you in any way, as you've done videos, kind of like how you've connected again to to the larger audience in a way that's, again, being so open. And I don't know you get what I'm saying with the question. I don't know if I'm actually phrasing that right.
Thank you. That's a compliment. I do try to be myself. And I
was going to say, because I know you've talked about difficult things and stuff,
and that was the thing
going on in your life, and you've been really open with a lot of that stuff. And I think that's, something that really adds to that authenticity that I think people connect with.
Well, it's actually one of the reasons I started the second channel, because the first channel, whenever I would talk about something personal or deep, people would not want to hear it. They would unsubscribe. And so I'm like, okay, I know we're feeding the algorithm. I got to give the people what they want. So I'm going to go over here.
Yeah.
Do it on this channel. And, I was lucky. At that point, I don't remember. I think I had like 10,000 subscribers on that channel the first day.
Yeah.
But that was just people coming from over there that actually wanted to hear what I had to say about other things besides tomatoes or peppers or whatever. Yeah. And, and that now it's trying to build that channel and trying to find where that channel belongs has been a little more difficult. I think I finally figured it out. We'll see over the next few months, but yes, see, I'm not the only one for sure.
That's right. For sure.
I will say, you and I have talked about this. It's funny you're talking about how we need to be like authentic in videos. Well, I've tried to do Brian's style of video. I tried just to have fun with it, just to see if I could sit there and like do a straight up teaching video where I don't bring myself into the video or my experiences or stuff. And I can't do it. How he does it, and the fact that you've got a curriculum on the other side of the world that they're using your videos for is freaking awesome. But I can't do that. And I love the fact that you can do, and we've talked about this, where you could do both. You could show, that side of teaching on Next Level Gardening, and then you're more personable, more hey, this is what I'm doing today. And you know what I mean? And I guarantee it, there's people in this audience right here, right now, commenting that will back up what I just said, because I love both your channels. You got to keep doing it. I know the second one is your hobby channel, as you call it, but I'll take a hobby channel with 80,000 subscribers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Really great. Let's see here. Time is running down. We're running out of time. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in with all of your questions and all of that, too. I really, really appreciate it. Big Will Dog here talks about, and again, too, I think about that book. We do our monthly book club, man. We have to have you for our book club sometime down the road as well, too, to feature this book as well, Companion Planting. But Big Will Dog asks, having established the channel, why was writing a book an important step for you?
It wasn't. I didn't even know that was going to happen. I mean, Penguin Random House reached out to me. I thought it was a scam. And then they wanted me to write on companion planting, which I didn't believe in. So I'm like, man, this sucks.
Right. They really were like, hey, this is it. This is specifically
what it is. The subject. This is how many pages it's going to be, and it has to be done in 6 months. And I was like, but how can you say no? Yeah. And so I went and did some research, and I figured out, okay, well, all those old wives' tales that I thought were companion planting, there's actually real studies and stuff on actual companion planting and things that work. So I'm going to do a book on that. And they were good with that. And they found me because I did a companion planting video that did well. And so that's how they did it. But I mean, I did not think I could write a whole book on it for sure.
Yeah.
And I did some basic gardening stuff in there too, but
yeah. It's I've heard from a few other, especially YouTubers, who've gone on to write books, that it's kind of a similar situation. They kind of got into it, never thinking they were going to ever be an author.
I thought I was going to be a young adult fiction author. That's what I wanted to be years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, so at least I got to be an author, but not where I thought I was going. And and they've asked me to do another book. There's so many garden books out there, especially by YouTubers, that I just didn't want it to be another gardening book.
Yeah.
So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, maybe in the future, some kind of creative gardening book, and kind of in a way documenting what I'm doing here and teaching how I'm doing it in a way. Yeah. So we'll see if that happens.
Have you wrote, so you're talking about the young, young adult books, like fiction?
Yeah.
So you ever thought about garden fiction?
Oh, I don't even know how that would be.
Yeah, well, we have a author we had on just what was it, last month, a month before, Christy Wilhelmy from the Garden Nerd, and she's wrote a couple of books called Garden Variety, and the most recent one's called Bolting a Seed, and it's about all these characters in a community garden down in Los Angeles, and all these kind of cool things that happen between the characters and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty fun, pretty interesting. And then she sprinkles in garden advice and tips and things like that throughout the book, in these cool, creative ways throughout the story.
I'll have to look that up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. Right on. My last question for you here, is there, and you might have said that too with this young adult, maybe people don't know, but I was going to ask you, is there something that your audience out there doesn't know about you that you haven't shared with them? It doesn't have to be garden related or anything, but is there something that they would be interested to know that you haven't mentioned on your channel before?
Well, I've been so open. I feel like I've said
right. Set you up with that other question too. I was like, I know you're pretty open.
I mean, I think most people know I worked for Disney. My goal in life, and I went to school for this, was to be a Disney Imagineer. That was like my dream job. When I got the job for Disney, it wasn't Imagineering. I did graphic design. It kind of was a letdown.
Yeah.
I felt like the Disney magic was not very magical when you actually work with them. And I ended up getting to talk.
That's what I've heard too.
Yeah. I got to talk with some Imagineers, and they said, except for the upper echelon who've been there for years, it is really just grunt work. So I gave that up, and I didn't know where that would lead me to do something like that. And now I have my own Disneyland for gardeners that I get to do whatever I want, and I get to be the designer, and I get to do it whatever, and have people, hopefully I have people visit through YouTube, and then hopefully someday in person.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. And again, too, you do such a fantastic job. Like I said, I just, been such a huge fan. And as I've mentioned to Chad early on, when I was like, hey man, Chad, you got to help hook me up with Brian. It was because you've been at the top of my list. When I thought of doing this type of show and all that sort of stuff, I wrote out a list of all my favorite folks I'd love to have on the show. And this has just really fulfilled such a big, it's a big deal for me in the long run that you came here to hang out with us and to talk with us here on the show. So I just really appreciate you taking your time to be with us today.
I'm glad you asked. Glad to be here.
Yeah. And like I mentioned too, we'll have to review that garden book here down the road as well too at some time. So we'll have to get back a hold of you for that sometime. But just a wonderful conversation with you today. I hope that everybody who's been joining with us today in the chat has been really enjoying the conversation as well. And anything else before we head out, Chad, you want to mention?
No, I was excited for today. I knew this would be a lot of fun. I knew this was going to be a great show. I knew there'd be a lot of people jumping in the comments, Coast to Coast crew and all the other amazing gardening community people that are in all of our lives. Thank you all so much for joining today. And I'm just excited that you got Brian on the show. Great dude. Great dude.
Excellent. All right. Yeah. And real quick to finish up, Brian, here, and I know most people know where to find you, all that sort of stuff, but you want to let us know and maybe something that you've got coming up on the channel? Or channels. You got two of them there, Next Level Gardening and the Gardens at Sky Ridge.
Yep. So there's on YouTube, Instagram, the Gardens at Sky Ridge. We do have our free garden guide, gardenguide.com. So I've been told by my partners to push that everywhere I can.
Yes.
So there's that. And then we are
we'll get a link into the conversation too, gardenguide.com.
Yeah. And then coming up on Sky Ridge, like I said, I think we may have figured out our niche of how to do this, how to grow that channel. So we will be starting 2 videos a week on that channel.
Oh, nice.
So there'll be some teaching and some of the regular kind of walk and talk, spending time with me in the garden type of thing as well.
Right on. Excellent. Again, thank you so much for being here with us, Brian. Thank you, everybody, for all of the great comments and questions in the chat. And Chad and I will be right back. Just one moment here, and we'll finish this up. Thanks again, Brian. Really awesome to have you here today.
Bye-bye.
All right. How about that, Chad? Huh? What a great conversation with Brian here on the show today. Thank you as well too for hanging out with us. It's really awesome to have you here for the show.
Thank you for having me on, man. This was great. I'm sorry whatever happened there when he came on. I think the aura of Brian kicked me out. I don't know.
All right. No, again, too, it's live streaming. You wouldn't believe how many times it happens to me as the host and just little this and that and whatever. But still great to have you here, too. As I was saying, the kind of a little test run and some ideas of what we're thinking about as far as some things that we want to do in the future. And kind of hint on the Monday Green Room show, too. We're hoping to have that back again in the coming weeks. So, it's great to kind of get a little test run and have a guest co-host on with us today. So really glad to have you here with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm glad we got Brian on here for you, and you marked that bucket list.
That's right. Exactly. I love it. It's so awesome. And again, thank you to all of your help and everything as well too in making today's show happen. Right on. And real quick here, let's go ahead and I'm going to just with you here. We're going to finish right up here, as I just wanted to mention to everybody again about what we've got coming up tomorrow. It's our monthly gardening book club. Mr. MBC will be here with us live for In the Garden, and joining with us will be Kim Stoddart. She's coming back to join us for a little revisiting of her book, The Climate Change Resilient Vegetable Garden. So we'll talk about that book just a little bit more. Plus, she's the editor of Amateur Gardening. We'll talk about garden writing, all sorts of stuff like that. And then next week on the show, too, next week, we're going to do 2 Saturday and Sunday community shows. Now, this is a really great opportunity, especially for those of you who've got small garden channels out there, to get a little chance to shout out your channels and all of that. Come and join with us on our community shows. We're going to do both Saturday and Sunday, pack in and fit in as many folks as possible. So I'm leaving it to all of you out there, all of you, the audience. If you got a channel or you know a small gardening channel that would love an opportunity, come out on our live stream. Definitely come and join with us on the community show next Saturday and Sunday, as what we do for each of these shows, kind of like a call-in radio show. This gives you the opportunity. I'll share our show link with you, the audience, and you guys can pop on and we can have a little chat about what you've got growing on in your gardens, talk a little bit about your channel, all of that sort of stuff. So definitely be sure to mark your calendar for next Saturday and Sunday for those community shows. Really, really looking forward to those. Those are some of my favorite stuff, is getting in and hang out and see who comes and joins with us for the community shows.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right on, right on, right on. So right on, everybody. Again, thank you all so much for being here with us today. Again, Chad, thank you for being here. Everyone, you brought some really awesome questions for Brian. I really, really appreciate that. And if you can, before you head out today, just like we start the show, let's go ahead and end it right. Let's hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Bell notification to be notified of our upcoming videos and live streams, and definitely share with all your garden friends. Let them know about our show here every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern, about 7 p.m. for those of you over in the UK, Greenwich Mean Time. Really, really bright and early in the morning in the future for all of our Australian friends as well, too. And definitely, everybody, follow all the links down below. Go check out Brian over at Next Level Gardening, the gardens at Sky Ridge. Check out Chad here over at Down Home Backyard Gardening. Definitely go and check out those coast to coast videos as well, too. Just amazing, awesome videos. More community connection. Really, really awesome. So right on. Excellent. What a great show. Really awesome.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you for having me. Thank you to everyone that showed up today and all Team Replay. Thank you all for what you all do for those of us that get in front of the camera. So thank you very much. Yep.
Right on, right on. Excellent, everybody. And don't forget, like I said, we're back here tomorrow, 11 a.m., 2 p.m. Eastern. Come join with us for our book club. We'll see you then.
The ugliest plant in the world, but I love it.